There are places in this world that feel older than time itself. Forests, primeval cathedrals of wood and leaf, where shafts of sunlight pierce a canopy woven over centuries. When you step into their domain, you leave the modern world behind. The air changes, the sounds change. You feel a presence, an ancient awareness that watches from the shadows between the trees.
Throughout human history, in every culture that has lived alongside these great woodlands, there are stories, legends of the spirits that dwell within. The Leshy in Slavic folklore, a trickster and a protector. The Green Man of Celtic myth, a symbol of rebirth. And in the deep, misty forests of the Baltic region, they whisper of a guardian known as the Mishkopvasia, the spirit of the forest.
But this is not a benevolent fairy tale creature. The Mishkopvasia is a sentinel, a timeless, powerful entity bound to the forest's life force. It is the protector of every root, every leaf, every living creature that calls the woods home. It offers sanctuary to those who enter with respect, but for those who come to exploit, to harm, to destroy, it reveals another face, a terrifying visage born of shadow and ancient wrath. This is the story of the forest's oldest defender. The legend of the Mishkopvasia is not written in books, but carried on the wind and told in hushed tones around campfires. It is said the spirit has no single form. It is a shapeshifter, a master of camouflage, able to melt into the very fabric of the forest. To some, it may appear as an unnaturally large wolf with eyes like glowing embers. To others, a stag whose antlers are tangled with living branches and thorns.
But its most feared form, the one spoken of with the most dread, is the one that appears to those with malice in their hearts.
Imagine a logger, deep in a protected grove, the illegal roar of his chainsaw tearing through the sacred silence. The birds have already fled. The forest seems to hold its breath. Suddenly, the engine sputters and dies. An unnatural quiet descends, heavy and absolute. The man looks around, unnerved. Between two ancient oaks where there was nothing but shadow a moment before, a figure begins to coalesce.
It is not man, nor beast. It is tall, impossibly so, its form woven from gnarled bark, twisted roots, and dripping moss. It has no face, only a void where a face should be. Yet the man feels a gaze of pure, cold fury piercing his soul. Long branch-like limbs extend from its torso, ending not in fingers, but in sharp, splintered points. It makes no sound, yet a low, guttural vibration seems to emanate from the very ground, a growl that is felt more than it is heard.
This is the manifestation of the forest's pain, a visceral, terrifying antibody rising to fight an infection. The stories always end the same way. The man drops his tools and flees, screaming, never to return.
he is left with a memory so horrifying that the mere thought of harming a tree again fills him with a primal, paralyzing fear. The forest has protected itself.
Of course, these could be dismissed as simple cautionary tales, fables invented to keep people from wandering too far or from depleting a shared resource. But the accounts are too consistent, too widespread. They speak not just of terror, but of strange, inexplicable phenomena that precede an encounter.
Hikers have reported their compasses spinning wildly, their GPS devices failing without reason. Well-trodden paths seem to vanish, leaving them lost in the disorienting maze of identical-looking trees. They describe a sudden, bone-chilling drop in temperature, even in a warm day. And most commonly, they report the overwhelming, palpable sensation of being watched by an unseen intelligence.
One old story from a Lithuanian village tells of two poachers who set snares to catch deer out of season. For a day, they found nothing. On the second day, they returned to find all their traps sprung, but empty. On the third day, they found their own campsite encircled by a perfect ring of white stones that hadn't been there before. Ignoring the warning, they reset their traps. That night, a terrifying howl, unlike any animal they knew, echoed through the woods, seeming to come from all directions at once. They spent the night huddled in terror, and in the morning, they discovered their snares had been torn apart and twisted into grotesque shapes hung from the highest branches of the trees, a clear, final warning.
But the Mishko-Dvasha is not purely a creature of wrath. It is, above all, a guardian. Its nature is balanced, reflecting the forest itself, which can be both dangerous and nurturing. To those who show respect, the spirit can be a guide, a silent benefactor.
There are tales of lost children who, instead of being frightened, were gently guided back to safety. They don't speak of a monster, but of a friendly fox that seemed to lead them, or a path of glowing moss that appeared on the forest floor, or a whisper on the wind that told them which way to turn. A lone mushroom forager who carefully harvests only what she needs and leaves the rest might find the rarest, most prized fungi suddenly revealed in a patch of sunlight.
The spirit's actions are a direct response to human intention. It is a mirror. It reflects back the respect or the desecration that one brings into its domain. It is the ultimate embodiment of the idea, as you treat the wild, so the wild will treat you.
In our modern age of science and skepticism, it is easy to dismiss such a being as folklore, a relic of a superstitious past. But perhaps the Mishko-Dvasya is more relevant now than ever before.
As humanity's footprint expands, as ancient forests fall to make way for concrete and commerce, the legend takes on a new, urgent meaning. It is no longer just a local spirit in a Baltic wood. It has become a global metaphor, a symbol for nature itself, pushed to its breaking point.
What is the frightening form of the spirit in our time? Perhaps it is not a figure of bark and shadow. Perhaps it is the hurricane, strengthened by warming oceans, the wildfire, raging uncontrollably through a drought-stricken landscape, the flood, sweeping away towns built on cleared river plains. These are nature's terrifying manifestations,
its immune system fighting back on a planetary scale. They are the modern face of the Mishkodvasya, warning us that our actions have consequences.
The spirit is the personification of our ecological conscience. It is that feeling of unease you get when you see a river choked with plastic. It is the pang of sorrow you feel standing at the edge of a clear-cut wasteland that was once a vibrant forest. It is the instinct that tells us we have gone too far, that we have broken a sacred trust. So, the next time you walk in the woods, stop for a moment, close your eyes, listen. Listen past the bird song and the rustle of leaves. Can you feel it? The ancient, breathing presence of the forest, the silent, watchful guardian. Whether you believe in a literal spirit or a powerful metaphor, the message is the same. The forest is alive, it is watching, and it is asking a silent question of each of us who enters. Are you a friend or are you a threat? The answer you give will determine the face the forest shows to you.